Welcome to Streaming News Network by Claude McDaniel. Please like and subscribe.
This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. President Donald Trump says he has directed senior United States envoys not to travel to Pakistan for talks involving Iran, signaling a shift in how his administration is approaching potential negotiations. In a televised interview, Trump indicated that diplomatic outreach does not require American officials to make the trip, stating that Iranian leadership can initiate contact directly with Washington at any time. The remarks suggest a preference for keeping negotiations on U.S. terms rather than engaging through third-party locations. Meanwhile, Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, departed Pakistan on Saturday evening following his visit. It remains unclear what discussions took place during his time there or whether they were connected to broader diplomatic efforts involving the United States. The development comes amid ongoing tensions and uncertainty surrounding U.S.-Iran relations, as both sides continue to navigate the possibility of future talks. This is Streaming News Network. A Florida lawmaker is raising concerns about what she calls unequal treatment in the federal justice system following the arrest of a United States Special Forces soldier accused of profiting from inside knowledge tied to a high-profile military operation. Federal prosecutors allege that Master Sergeant Gannon Ken Van Dyke used classified, non-public information about the mission that led to the capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro to place wagers on a prediction market platform. Authorities say those bets totaled more than $33,000 and resulted in profits exceeding $400,000. Van Dyke now faces multiple federal charges, including fraud and unlawful use of government information, and could face decades in prison if convicted. Speaking during a television interview, Florida Representative Anna Paulina Luna questioned whether the potential punishment is excessive, arguing the case highlights what she views as a broader issue of insider trading among lawmakers. Luna stated that while she does not support the soldier's actions, she believes similar conduct in Washington often goes unchecked. She also claimed past efforts to introduce bipartisan legislation limiting stock trading by members of Congress were blocked by House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. During the interview, Luna pointed to prominent figures, including former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, as examples in her criticism of congressional trading practices. The Department of Justice has not publicly responded to Luna's remarks. Van Dyke remains in federal custody as the case moves forward. This is Streaming News Network. A violent home invasion in the Hollywood Hills has left a 70-year-old woman injured after masked intruders targeted her residence late Thursday night. According to the Los Angeles Police Department, two suspects broke into the home of Margot Merkin, an heiress to the budget rent-a-car fortune, at approximately 8:30 in the evening. Authorities say the attackers assaulted Merkin, choking her and beating her severely, resulting in a broken jaw. The suspects then stole cash and valuable jewelry before fleeing the scene in a white sedan. Some of the stolen items reportedly held significant personal value, having been gifts from Merkin's late husband. Merkin was transported to a nearby hospital for treatment and has since been released. Neighbors describe the quiet, hillside street as typically peaceful, expressing shock over the rare act of violence in the area. Residents say the neighborhood is not known for serious crime, making the incident particularly unsettling. Police continue to search for the suspects and are urging anyone with information to come forward. This is Streaming News Network. 15 years after the death of pop icon Michael Jackson, the physician at the center of the case, Conrad Murray, continues to maintain his innocence while rebuilding his life and career. Murray was convicted in 2011 of involuntary manslaughter for administering the powerful anesthetic propofol, which led to Jackson's death in June of 2009. Prosecutors argued the doctor acted with gross negligence by providing the drug without proper monitoring and delaying emergency response. Murray, however, has consistently denied wrongdoing, claiming he was not solely responsible. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison but served just under 2 years before his release. Following his incarceration, his medical licenses in several states were suspended, though his legal team indicated he intended to continue practicing medicine. In the years since, Murray has largely stayed out of the spotlight. Reports indicate he later established a medical institute in his home country of Trinidad and Tobago, signaling an effort to resume his professional work despite the controversy surrounding the case. The death of Michael Jackson remains one of the most high-profile cases involving medical responsibility in celebrity history, and Murray's role in it continues to draw public attention. This is Streaming News Network. President Donald Trump is set to attend the White House Correspondents Association dinner on Saturday, marking his first appearance at the high-profile gathering since taking office. The annual dinner, hosted by the White House Correspondents Association, has long been a tradition celebrating press freedom and the relationship between the presidency and the media. Historically, sitting presidents have attended at least once during their time in office. Trump's decision to participate is notable, given his well-documented clashes with journalists and frequent criticism of what he has called fake news media throughout his political career. His attendance signals a break from that pattern, placing him in line with past presidents who have taken part in the event, even amid tense relationships with the press. This is Streaming News Network. Authorities in Florida say a former student at the University of South Florida has been charged in connection with the deaths of two doctoral students who disappeared earlier this month. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office announced that 26-year-old Hishama Bugharbi is facing 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder in the deaths of Zamal Limon and Nahida Bristi, both originally from Bangladesh. The suspect appeared in court in Tampa on Saturday and was ordered held without bond. A hearing is scheduled for April 28. Investigators say Limon's remains were discovered Friday morning near the Howard Franklin Bridge, while Bristi remains missing. Authorities initially detained Bugharbi on additional charges, including moving a body, failing to report a death, evidence tampering, false imprisonment, and battery. Deputies encountered him while responding to a domestic disturbance at a residence near the campus. Officials say he barricaded himself inside before eventually surrendering after a response involving a special weapons and tactics team and crisis negotiators. Limon and Bristi, both 27 years old, were last seen on April 16 and were reportedly in a relationship. An autopsy is underway to determine the cause of Limon's death as the investigation continues. This is Streaming News Network. Power of Monuments, placing a spotlight on one of the city's most recognizable symbols, the statue of Rocky Balboa. The exhibit, titled Rising Up, Rocky and the Making of Monuments, examines how a fictional underdog boxer became a global icon. The bronze statue, originally created for the film Rocky III, has stood near the museum's famous steps since the early 1980s and now draws millions of visitors each year. Curated by Paul Farber of Monument Lab, the exhibition looks at how figures like Rocky evolve into symbols of perseverance and identity. Visitors often gather at the statue to recreate the character's triumphant pose, turning the site into what organizers describe as a cultural meeting ground. The showcase spans thousands of years of boxing history and celebrity, featuring works ranging from ancient sculptures to modern pieces by artists such as Andy Warhol and Jean-Michel Basquiat. It also highlights real-life figures, including Jack Johnson, the first black world heavyweight champion. At the center of it all is the Rocky statue itself, originally a movie prop, but now a lasting monument that continues to spark debate over what defines public art and cultural legacy. The exhibition also coincides with the 50th anniversary of the original Rocky, the film that launched Sylvester Stallone into stardom. This is Streaming News Network. Jake Reiner, the eldest son of filmmaker Rob Reiner, is speaking publicly for the first time following the tragic deaths of his parents, calling the experience a living nightmare. In a written statement released Friday, Jake Reiner described the emotional toll of losing both parents in a violent incident late last year. He reflected on their lasting influence, calling them his guiding lights and expressing deep grief over what he described as an unimaginable loss. Authorities say Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Reiner, were found stabbed to death inside their California home in December of 2025. Their son, Nick Reiner, has been charged in connection with the killings and has pleaded not guilty. He is expected back in court in the coming days. In his statement, Jake Reiner spoke about the close bond he shared with both parents, highlighting their support, guidance, and the strength of their marriage. He also acknowledged the complexity of the case, noting that while some details may emerge over time, other aspects remain deeply personal for the family. The case continues to move through the legal system as the Reiner family copes with the aftermath of the tragedy. Comedian Kathy Griffin is opening up about an uncomfortable encounter during a recent trip in Minnesota, saying she felt compelled to fabricate a personal story to exit a tense situation. Appearing on the daytime program The View, Griffin described a car ride in Minneapolis where she says the driver made remarks she found offensive, including comments she characterized as anti-gay and racially insensitive. The situation escalated as they passed a memorial for George Floyd, where the driver allegedly made additional remarks that heightened her discomfort. Griffin said she and her tour manager quietly coordinated a plan to leave the ride early. She ultimately told the driver that a relative would take over transportation, adding that she falsely claimed her cancer had returned in order to bring the interaction to an end. The comedian later clarified that her cancer has not returned. Griffin previously underwent lung surgery and announced in 2021 that she had successfully beaten the disease. She described the incident as awkward but said it underscored the importance of speaking up or removing oneself from situations that feel unsafe or inappropriate. This has been Claude McDaniel for Streaming News Network.
Thank you for listening to Streaming News Network videos and shorts. Please like and subscribe to our news channel.